I'm just really hoping I can figure something out. It's way more challenging than I had expected.
Meet Mike Black, an entrepreneur who likes to do crazy challenges.
I remember like handing in the keys and being like, holy shit, I have to figure out what to do now. And I hadn't planned any of this. I don't even have a car, I can't do that. And I was like, wait a sec, what am I gonna do? I kind of panicked a little.
In 2022, he tried to go from zero to $1 million business in just 12 months with no outside investment or paid ads.
We were going into all these communities, all these Slack groups where people are looking for services. And we were just monitoring these, and we kind of built a bot where we would get a notification sent every time someone posted in like a hiring group within a certain Slack community.
And this wasn't the first time he tried something like this. His original challenge in 2020 got cut short when his dad was diagnosed with terminal cancer. So when Mike restarted the challenge 2 years later, it wasn't just about hitting a number, it was about finishing what he started. In this video, you'll learn the biggest hacks for starting a business from scratch, the secret places to find customers that aren't saturated yet, and how to book calls while you sleep with automation. This interview got real. We talked business, we laughed, we even got a little teary-eyed at times. Let's dive in. All right, Mike, what is your most recent business?
So I run a company called TalentStream. We're automating recruiting with AI. So we started a traditional recruiting agency 2.5 years ago where we were helping people recruit. And essentially we've taken that model where we'll charge 20 to 25%. And we're trying to make it a lot less painful for people hiring and a lot more affordable than traditional recruiting agency.
And when you started it, how did it do within the first year?
Yeah, so in the first year, we grew to about $1 million.
And you started it from scratch?
Yeah, it was completely from scratch. I actually didn't know what I was doing. I had a couple of customers reach out at my product development studio, and they were like, hey, we actually need to hire all this headcount internally. Can you help? And I told them like, look, I think we're good at hiring engineers in our company, but haven't done it before in this type of model, but we can give it a try. And legitimately, the first month that I did it, made about $100,000. And I was so used to making $100K, and then I pay my developers, make $100K, pay devs. And I made $100K and I was like, holy shit, I just made $100K. And that happened the first month and the second month and the third month. And I was like, this is awesome. And that's how TalentStream was born.
What were some of the key inflection points of within those first couple months to go from 0 to 100K?
Yeah, honestly, it was just me doing it initially. Obviously, when you scale it out, then the margins will go down because you have to hire employees and stuff. But this was during like the crazy hiring times after COVID or during COVID. So you could sneeze and get customers. So I think I got lucky kind of being in the right place at the right time where it was so easy to get customers. It's actually really hard to find good talent because the market was a lot different than it is today. We've done a lot of outbound with like hiring. So for me, it was like, okay, let me just get people on the phone, convince them that this is a good job if it aligns with their careers and what they want. And, it was a lot of just kind of grunt work, working a lot of hours because I had to do that in addition to the business to test it out, but it worked out.
You've been in the game for a while. You've played around with content on your own channels as well as growing some of these businesses. You did a really interesting challenge a few years back where that went like mega viral on YouTube, on Twitter, on all these different platforms. Can you talk about what that challenge was and get into some of the rules of that challenge?
Yeah. So it was called $1 Million Comeback. I think it was 2020. We were just chatting about it, which is crazy. It's been that long. But essentially the project was I wanted to start over and build a new business that I haven't ever built before from 0 to $1 million in 12 months without using my network, with no money, nowhere to live, pretty much no resources, just a phone. The goal was to build a business from 0 to $1 million in 12 months. And we documented it. It was actually crazy looking back how much content we were making because it was like a weekly vlog. It was a weekly how-to video, a weekly live stream, and then we were producing content on every single platform. So I had to build like a content team and I never made content before.
Did you choose to drain your personal account to 0 instead of just like, I don't know, just giving business advice and not actually doing the challenge?
What I ended up doing is I set up a new bank account and I just moved all my money to like the business. So like I didn't have any personal funds. I had no dollars and I could only use this new bank account that I set up for the challenge. It was during COVID. I had some friends that were going through a really tough time. If you remember, like it was shutdowns. A lot of people were getting fired. Some people that were getting fired were starting businesses for the first time. And I was like, wow, what a great opportunity to help those people. Like those people that are making a big life transition. Maybe they're starting a new career or maybe they're starting a business that they've never started before. Instead of just giving advice and saying, hey, here's how you do this, why don't I put my money where my mouth is and actually go do it, and we'll do it together. It's like you hear that all the time. People are like, here's what I do if I started over today. Well, how about we start over today and not just talk from like a place of like, yeah, it's easy to say that. Let's go do it. And what I knew going into that project was I was going to screw up a lot, and it will be nice because it's all documented. Like the camera was filming almost 24/7, not actually, but when I was working, like there was always someone filming. But it was an opportunity to say like, hey, look, I know a little bit that I can help you guys with, but more importantly, you're going to see me screw up. And you get to see that in the videos is like, there's so many things I tried that didn't work. And it was all about mindset. It was all about not having a victim mentality and being like, look, this didn't work, but like, let's get at it tomorrow and let's take a different approach. And that was really why I started the challenge and why kind of like approach it the way we did.
It also offered a lot of like tactical, as well as just like systems approaches, or like, of course, bias towards action. But can you talk about what type of businesses you considered? And then when you did your first one, I really liked how you really thought through it of like, okay, I'm kind of just trading my time for money. Maybe if I hire somebody and then negotiate a retainer, and like you moved up the value equation pretty quickly. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, you know what's funny? The best business I started out of all the businesses, which I'll go through them, was a service business, because I started a bunch of stuff. So one thing I realized from the project, and I wish I kind of said this because I didn't even know because we just went and did it. If I was going to start from nothing, the first thing I do is get a job and make sure that I'm secure. I think that's the most important thing, which I didn't do during the project. Instead, I started flipping stuff. So that was the first thing I did, which was great because it was just cash. It was cash flow. So
I would stuff on like Facebook Marketplace. Like
So I'd find couches that were listed for free on Craigslist, and then I was really desperate because I didn't have a place to stay. And I remember like handing in the keys and being like, holy shit, I have to figure out what to do now. And I hadn't planned any of this. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I could just go find a couch and then pick it up or something. And it's like, well, I don't even have a car. I can't do that. And I was like, wait a sec, what am I going to do? And I kind of panicked a little. But then I realized I could just post things that were listed for free from Craigslist to on Facebook Marketplace, and there was like an arbitrage there. And I would list something for say $50, and someone would reach out to me and be like, hey, I'm interested in the couch. And then I would get on the phone with the person on Craigslist. And it was a weird combo. I was like, hey, this is going to sound so weird, but I help people sell their stuff. I saw this couch is listed for free. I could actually get you $50 for it. I just take half. Is that something you want to do? And people were just like, sure, I just want it gone. That was the value. It wasn't the money, it was they wanted it gone.
Solve it. Yeah.
So I did that. I made $300 like the first 2 days. And then I ended up getting shadow banned on Marketplace. So I realized like, wait a second, I don't have to do this in just Austin. I could do it all over the US. So I started doing that, and then Facebook didn't like that, and I got shadow banned. So then after I started doing that, then I was like, okay, well, what can I actually do to make money? So I started an Upwork account, and I started doing services on Upwork. So the very first customer I got was a law firm, helping them with like executive assistant stuff. I also got some like dance studios, helping them with like MailChimp. I never used MailChimp before, but like you can look this stuff on YouTube and learn how to do it. And then don't charge for the research time, but charge when you actually like implement it for them. If the person just wants it solved, as long as you have critical thinking skills, you can learn a lot of these things in a short period of time. So I did all these gigs on Upwork, and I was getting some cash, which was great, but I didn't really start making great money until I then went to the lawyer that hired me as like an EA. I think I was getting like 20 or $25 an hour, and I pitched him on a $2,000 a month retainer. I was like, hey, look, it was the scariest thing, by the way. Legitimately to this day, I've pitched a lot of six-figure deals. I've been in the room with customers where we're pitching, and it's very high stakes or high pressure. The scariest thing I've ever done in my life was asking that customer to do a $2,000 a month retainer. Because if he said no, and then for whatever reason didn't like it and fired me, that was my income. Like, literally wouldn't eat if he would have said no. So I like held my breath. He said yes. Now I had $2,000 a month, every single month coming in. So now I'm like, okay, well, I have this $2,000 a month. What do I do with this $2,000 a month? What I should have done, a mistake, was I should have just focused on getting more of those. Just get more of this exact thing and niche down and just get more of it and just keep stacking that. But because I only had 12 months to make $1 million, I was like, I don't want to do that. I need to do something that I can actually make $1 million really quickly. And e-commerce is the easiest way, in my opinion, to do that, because you can run ads. And if you can run ads, you just have to have a couple winning ad sets, and then you can just scale it. There's a lot of problems with that though. One, I've never done e-commerce, and two, I don't run ads. So It didn't work super well, but
other than that, perfect fit.
But e-commerce can be a good business, and the way I approached it was, I think, a really good way to approach it. If you're going to start e-commerce requires cash up front. You don't want to spend cash up front. I didn't have the money to spend cash up front. A lot of people, when they're starting, they don't have cash up front, right? And if you, instead of like raising money, what I did instead, I went to a farmer's market. I was like, there's probably going to be good companies at the farmer's market that maybe they're not good at marketing. That's why they're at a farmer's market. And I could just like white label their product. So I was going table to table, just meeting people at the farmer's market. And I met a coffee company. I love their coffee. And I liked the founder. And I was like, hey, could I just like slap my brand on your coffee and just sell it? It's like, sure. Now I didn't need to like buy supplies. We made an agreement where like, hey, I'm going to get orders. And when I get the orders, I'll send them to you and then you'll fill it in a bag and ship it out. The only upfront cost was getting the stickers to put on the bag.
So what happened with the rest of the challenge?
Yeah. So unfortunately, 4 months in, my dad got diagnosed with terminal cancer. Got the call 18 months, which ended up, it said 12 to 18 months. It ended up being 18 months. I did continue the project, but I had to like majorly change it. If I could go back, I would have just stopped because it was too much. I essentially ended up changing the rules to like, hey guys, I need help now. I can't do this project and like not be with my family, and I can't do all this stuff anymore. Like I need to focus on this because I was just researching every single day, just researching cancer. I was in every cancer group, just doing everything that I could to figure out like, what can we do?
What type of cancer was it?
It was stage 4 colon cancer. And when it was really advanced, like I didn't know anything about cancer. Now that I know quite a lot, it's a death sentence. So, sorry, I'm good. I just get like emotional.
That actually really resonates with me when I heard you talk about this, because my stepdad has terminal cancer as well, and we moved him from off the chemo into hospice like a month ago.
Man.
So as one could imagine, it kind of changes everything, right? We're talking about, being productive and starting businesses, doing fun challenges. It's like at any moment, can shake your world.
Yeah,
to be like,
I'm really sorry to hear that.
What is actually important? It could happen to anyone at any time, and it's like, whoa, okay, well, how do I want to be living this life? And for me, my family's in Indiana, and I went back home like a couple weeks ago, and the expression of love from like family and friends, it was like, oh, this is actually a beautiful thing. Like, it sucks. We've known for 5 years he has kidney cancer, and the numbers are like, 5 years in, it kind of drops off until that's like exactly where we are. And it's like, there's no, you were talking about researching it. It's like, there's not really a thing to go do, right?
Yeah.
It's your perspective.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because like what I learned through all of it was the key to not dying of cancer is catching it as early as possible.
I guess I'm curious from your perspective, is there anything else that changed for you? I'm sure there's plenty, but through that experience, now you're looking back.
Yeah. I really think the biggest thing was just like, health should never be a second priority. It should always be first. And the business should never come before health. I think that's really the biggest thing because, I'm the type of person, I work 80 plus hours a week. I'm always working. But like you need to make the time to take care of any issues you have and make sure that, you are healthy. And if you're not, like go to the gym.
So you had this challenge to go from 0 to $1 million, and then you did this thing. It also went really viral. People like, you went on some YouTube channel, then people clipped it and put it on Twitter, and they kind of twisted it maybe in a different way.
Yeah.
But then you actually did go from 0 to essentially a new business to $1 million in a year.
Yeah.
And that's what we were talking about earlier. For somebody watching this who wants to study your story and insert some of that into their life, whether they're starting brand new business from scratch or trying to grow theirs, how would you think about what business to start and how to get those customers?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I think about is like, where's the world going? Like, things are changing. The world is going to be hopefully not too scary in like 5 years where we have like robots and AI doing everything. But consider that. Where's the world going? Where can you create a lot of value in a short period of time? AI has unlocked that for everyone. There's people that can build a lot of wealth in a really short period of time because of these new things that didn't exist that all of a sudden exist. Like, you can't go start Amazon today, right? The web's not starting today. Jeff Bezos couldn't, start Amazon today if he, had to start over, right? But Jeff Bezos would probably build some type of an AI company, right? So I would think about that, but I would really look at a service-based business where you don't have to spend a lot of money and you can test it with cold email. You can throw up a quick landing page, start sending cold emails with whatever your offer is and see if you can get customers. Just go really niche with, here are the people I want to target and here's what I'm going to sell. And then look up some stuff online on how to send cold emails and how to scale that. And it's really not super hard. Like, anyone can start tomorrow sending cold emails. There's a little bit of a cost involved, but it's not that much.
Yeah, let's maybe get tactical for a moment with your tech stack or the tech stack that you'd recommend for getting started here.
If I was starting a new service tomorrow, we get the landing page up. We're using Webflow, maybe Lovable for that. Then for sending cold emails, the very first thing that we do whenever we have a new idea we want to test is we go to a site called Zapmail, and you can buy domain names right on Zapmail. They use something called Cloudflare. It's like $10. And then you can get email accounts that are as cheap as $3 per email. Get Google accounts. Don't get Outlook unless you're selling to like really big companies. Make it easy, get Google accounts. Then you just click a button after they're set up and you send it to some type of email warming product. There's a couple good ones. The one that we use is Instantly or SmartLead. It'll export right to SmartLead. That'll cost you like anywhere from $50 to $100 a month for SmartLead or Instantly. And then you start warming up the emails. That takes about 2 to 3 weeks. Now, every domain that you get, you want to get 2 to 3 emails per domain. Don't get more than 3. Now, the rules with email is you can send 30 emails per day per email account, okay? So if you're going to send a 2-email sequence, you can add 15 new unique contacts per email per day, 30 over 2. If you're going to do 3 emails per sequence, you can add 10 unique contacts per email. So then you work your way back. So if your TAM, your total addressable market of people you want to reach out to, let's say you want to send 20,000 emails a month, you can now do the math to figure out how many emails accounts do I need. My recommendation is times it by 2, because if any of your accounts get blacklisted, you want to have backups that you can then jump in so you don't stop running your campaigns. That's what we use for setting up the emails and then warming them up. Now, once they're warmed up and they're ready to send, now you have to find your prospects. We use a tool called clay.com. It is really, really great. You kind of have these 2 different types of campaigns that we talked about before. The first is like, let me just prospect a list of people and import it into Clay. Or the second is let me find signals and webhook that into Clay. So a job post signal. If you're using an API, it'll webhook, someone posts a job, it webhooks all that data into Clay, and then it goes through an enrichment process. If you prospect, the tools that we like to use are Sales Navigator or Apollo. When you prospect with Sales Nav or Apollo, you're going to say Sales Nav and you're typing in, let's say I want to prospect law firms. So I'll go into Sales Nav, I'll type law firms in the United States, size 20 to 100 employees that focus on, litigation, right? Whatever that niche is, you put it in Sales Nav. Then you can take that link, and we use something called the boomerang. And the boomerang will scrape all the data and give you a CSV of every single person. So we'll do that with either Sales Nav or with Apollo. So then once the data is into Clay, now you need to create your workflows. And you have to essentially go, okay, I have this data. If I prospect it, I already have the people I want to reach out to. If I didn't prospect, if it was a signal, we have to run a workflow and we have to find the right person to reach out to. So we actually use Apollo again. We use their API. So let's say a job post comes through. It'll go, here's the company, here's the job post. First thing we do is we run like an AI call with GPT. And GPT will look at the job and the company and go, is this a recruiting agency? Yes or no? Because we don't want to reach out to recruiting agents. We want to reach out to actual companies. And if the answer is yes, it's a recruiting agency, it'll stop the sequence. But if it isn't a recruiting agency, it'll continue the sequence and it'll go to a prospecting, which it does an API call with Apollo, and it will just look for anyone that you put the titles in. It'll look for anyone that is a good person to reach out to. Now, if you want to get super advanced, what we actually do, we split the API call into 3 buckets. The first is small companies, second is medium companies, the third is large. Because when you're prospecting a large company, I might reach out to a VP or a head. When I'm reaching out to a small company, I'm reaching out to the founder. So it will do that enrichment for you, all automated. All of this runs automated. You don't have to do anything other than set it up once. It'll find those people, and then it'll do another qualification and go, is this the right person, yes or no? And then it'll do what's called a waterfall for their contact data. So we waterfall their emails and phones. Now, what a waterfall is it will, let's say I'm trying to get your email, it'll use one provider, and if it doesn't get it, then it'll go to the next provider and the next provider and the next provider until it gets your email. So we essentially qualified this is the right person, then we get the email and the phone number. Then the last step in our process is we do personalization. And you don't want to do you have to be careful here. You don't want to do a ton of AI slop. That's stuff that works really bad in emails. But you do want to use AI to make something a little bit relevant if you can. For example, hey Jeff, saw you're hiring for Golang. We've interviewed 37 Golang engineers in Boston the last couple weeks, right? That is relevant. But you can also use other things obviously to make it relevant. You have to play around with that. But that personalization will then, all of that final, data set gets pushed to HubSpot, which is our CRM that we use, and it gets pushed to Instantly or Smartly, which is our sending engine. We have this sending engine on autopilot now. Every time someone's posting a job, that's one of our many motions that we use. We're sending tens of thousands of emails a month just off that one motion, and we don't do anything. So now that all webhooks into Slack. So I just have Slack notifications all day. I bet you if I pull my phone up right now, there'd be a couple of leads replying to those emails and saying hey, I'd love to hear more, or I'm not interested, or can you send over the profiles? And then we're responding and trying to set up a call and then signing a contract. Right. So that's kind of very high level, the workflow that we run, and anyone can go do this tomorrow.
What would you say your superpower is?
My superpower is definitely cold outreach.
Okay, so that's all for email. You're not even involved or touching any of that. And then do you call people too, or this is...
Yeah. So we also dial. Right now we use something called Nooks.ai. I wouldn't recommend it. We're actually going to switch to another tool called Salesfinity. Now what Nooks is a parallel dialer. When it comes to cold calling, there's 2 options you have. Option 1 is a power dialer. Option 2 is a parallel dialer. The difference is with a power dialer, you can dial 1 number at a time. With a parallel dialer, you can dial up to 5 numbers at a time. Now, there's pros and cons to those 2 things. With a parallel dialer, when you dial 5 at a time, and a prospect answers and they go, hello, there's a gap. For the first 1 to 2 seconds, you don't get connected. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever gotten a cold call and you're like, hello, and then no one answers for a second or 2?
My phone is always on. I don't answer.
Okay, you wouldn't be rare. Someone that we would connect with, but but that's they're using a parallel dialer. So that's the downside is the person, I get cold calls all the time. When I hear that silence, I know immediately that's a parallel dialer. So that's the downside to a parallel dialer. The upside is you can do 5x the amount of volume. With a power dialer, the upside is you don't have that gap. The downside is you do 5x less the volume. Now here's the thing with the power dialer and how to decide what to use. If you're using a tool like Nooks or Salesfinity, there's also another good one called Orem. I tested all these, by the way. Every single parallel dialer. In Power Dialer, I literally tested every one to decide which to use.
I don't doubt it. This is great.
The best is Salesfinity's great. We're going to be switching to it. Orem is really good. And Nooks is all right.
And so the concept is you feed it in, hey, I want to get these people on the phone and I'm ready to talk right now. And then it's okay. And then it just is hey, you're on the phone with John, go.
Yeah, yep, exactly. And it's super nice because you click a button and you just sit there and then just dialing 5 people at a time. What I like about dialing 5 numbers at a time, I like the parallel dialers. What I like about it is it almost makes you cold. You lose that fear with dialing because you're dialing so many people that you're okay, you're just another number. Yeah. So I actually think it helps people get away from that fear because they realize that there's so much abundance of people they can sell to. Where you're power dialing, you're hitting less volume and you're shit, I hope someone doesn't pick up. So now here's the thing though, and this is important. If someone's watching this and they're in between, should I use a power dialer or a parallel dialer? You can get a parallel dialer and you can power dial with a parallel dialer, but you can't do the opposite. If you get a tool that's a power dialer, if you get a tool as a power dialer, you can't parallel dial. But if you get a tool like Nooks or Salesfinity or Orem, you can just switch it to one number at a time and now you can power dial. So my opinion, that's the best way to do it. The downside is it's parallel dialers are more expensive. You're going to pay $200 to $300 a month for parallel dialer. Whereas if you get a good power dialer, it's only about $100 a month.
And what would you say to somebody who's maybe doesn't have, they're still figuring out their offering, and I've heard you mention starting out through white labeling through to another agency. How would you think about that for somebody versus, having to figure it out the whole thing themselves starting out?
Yeah, so that's actually my biggest hack. If someone is fresh, brand new, you don't have a business yet, and you want to start a business, there's this trick that you can do that's really easy, where you essentially find either a freelancer or you find an agency and you essentially white label that person. So I'll give you an example. Let's say I wanted to start, as I mentioned, I don't run ads. I'm not good at ads, right? So let's say I want to start an ads agency. I'm not going to just try to start an ad agency. I'm going to find an agency that's really freaking good at ads. And I'm going to say, hey, ad agency, I want to start an ad agency too, but I'm not good at ads. I would love to partner with you and white label your service. The value I bring to you is I'm going to bring you a bunch of customers, but I would like a discount because I'm going to send you a lot of customers. So I need some type of discount so I can have margin. So let's say they typically charge $2,000 a month for a certain service. I'm going to try to get them to $1,000 or $1,500 a month. And then I'm going to go sell that for $2,500 a month, right? Now, what's really cool about this is I can go and I can just do sales and I can talk to the person and get coached on how to sell. Hey, what are your customers like? How should I sell this? How should I get people on the phone? So now you learn the messaging, but most importantly, when you get them on a call, the agency can help you close the call. That's what they do. They have people that close these deals. So they can help you close the deal and you own the account. You brought the lead in, it's your business. Let's say our ad agency is called abcads.com. They sign a contract with ABC Ads, but let's say EFG Ads is our white label partner. They're getting on the call and helping me close the deal, and then they're doing the fulfillment. So now as an entrepreneur, I can get really good at the most important thing, which is growing a business, sales and marketing, right? They can handle fulfillment, but I can do anything now. I can start an accounting practice. I could literally start a plumbing company if I wanted to. I just need to go find plumbers and maybe partner with a plumbing company that already exists. And this is how we started our product development studio. We found someone really good and we kind of white labeled the person. They were more of a small freelancer with / agency. They had 4 or 5 people and we used their people. And that's kind of how we got started.
Interesting. And so if you were starting over today from scratch, looking at where the world is going, what do you think that's the route that you would go? Pick a niche, white label?
Yeah, I think it's the best. That's a hard question to answer because it depends on who I'm talking to.
Yeah, I guess let's make it a little more practical and let's use an example. Let's use me for example of work at a tech company, do marketing and content. And if I were to start a side agency, tomorrow, what would you? And you're my coach.
Sure. So the first thing I would actually say is what is your superpower? Understand what your superpower is. What is it that you're better at than anyone else in the world? And if you have something, use that. That's what you should lean into. If you don't have something that you can sell as a service, that's totally okay. What is important is getting good at sales and marketing, period. Everyone, if you're not good at that, that's a problem. It's a problem that you can solve by doing sales and marketing. So if you have that superpower and you're really good at, say, marketing content, figure out who you want to serve and go do it and go try to scale it. But put yourself in a position, and I was really lucky because I did this. When I started my product development studio, we were building software. I can't write code. So I can't spend time on fulfillment. I had to spend time on just sales and marketing, get good at sales and marketing, right? So now you get very good at sales and marketing. It's not even an option.
Right.
I can't start writing code. So my biggest piece of advice is don't learn how to do the thing. The thing isn't that valuable. Putting the right process in place and the right fulfillment in place, there's value there. The most value is sales and marketing. So spend the time on sales and marketing, get good at that, And it's a huge plus if your superpower is content, because you can build the team to do the content. You can put the system and the ops in place to do that really, really, really well.
Mm-hmm. So not only do you find customers in just traditional outbound, and you have a very systematic way of doing that, but I've also heard you find customers in other non-traditional ways, like different groups or Slack groups. Can you talk about that?
You're giving away all my secrets now. So it's with Slack groups, what we were doing is we were going into all these communities, all these Slack groups where people are looking for services. And there's a lot of these groups. There's paid Slack groups and there's unpaid Slack groups. And we were just monitoring these, and we kind of built a bot where we would get a notification sent every time someone posted in like a hiring group within a certain Slack community or a gigs channel in a certain Slack community. And we've done hundreds of thousands of dollars getting customers through this. It actually works really great for marketing because people are always looking for really good marketers. It does work decent for like development. We again did hundreds of thousands of dollars for software development. The most untraditional thing we did is we were a member of WeWork, and back in the day they used to have a platform, and people could post that they needed help hiring for different roles. Like, hey, I'm looking for a software engineer. And we did over $1 million alone with WeWork. So we would just reach out to those people, say, hey, saw you're looking for like a software engineer. Let's just jump on a call and chat about that. Like, let me see if I can help you out. And it was always consultative selling. I legitimately don't want to sell someone unless I can solve their problem better than anyone else. And I'd get on the call and just help. Talk me through your problem. And a lot of times I push people to a platform called Bubble, which I don't do today because AI is way better than Bubble. But I would actually turn away a ton of business. But there was the 10% of people I'd get on the call with, and I'd be like, they would actually end up begging us to work with them. Like we had a customer we got from a Facebook group. You can also do this with Facebook groups, FYI. And we thought they were really small. We didn't work with people that couldn't spend at least $100K a year. And by the end of the conversation, it was consultative selling. I only got on the call to help them. It truly was. They're like, we need engineers. And I know how many people get screwed over hiring bad engineers. So it's like, hey, I'm happy to get on a call and help. Got on a call. By the end of it, he's like, well, you guys do this. Can you do this? And I was like, no, you guys are like, unfortunately, you're too small, but I can introduce you to people that are. And he just begged for us to work with him. And he's still a customer today. We've worked with them for like, I think like 7 or 8 years. We built their entire product. And that was from a Facebook group. So these groups, these Slack communities, these Facebook groups, there's people that need these services. There's founders in there. Founders need marketing. Founders need software development. Founders probably need, if you're a service provider, what you're offering. Go to those groups and try to add value if you can, but also look for those keywords like hiring or I need help with XYZ.
This has been awesome, Mike. Where can people find you on the internet?
Yeah, so if you just look me up online, Mike Black, I think on Instagram, @Mike Black, then all the other social medias, it's all different things. I got to fix that. Instagram's the only one I got the @Mike Black. But
Okay.
if you type Mike Black anywhere you want to find me, I'll come up.
You'll find. And then very last thing, any final message or takeaway to someone watching this right now, whether it's a challenge or somebody looking to get started along their own entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, my biggest opinion, if someone's watching and they're just getting started, is just start and get good at sales. But keep it easy. Keep it really simple. Don't try to overcomplicate things. Just find a niche of people that you want to serve. Figure out what do you do, who do you do it for, and then go to Clay, set up instantly, start sending some emails. And if you're really, really, if you're really courageous, pick up the phone and dial.
Yes, awesome. Well, Mike, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Yeah, it was great chatting, man.
Sweet.